It's her turn. If you don't agree, well, you're racist. Team Kamala is furious that other big Democrat names always get brought up whenever Dems talk about who should replace Joe Biden. For example, Bill Maher is calling on California Governor Gavin Newsom to run against Donald Trump. They can't stand talk like that. Watch this.
There's a long list of Democrats: Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer. The list goes on and on. If you pick a white man over Kamala Harris, black women, I can tell you this, we're going to walk away. We're going to blow the party up. If you pick the black woman...
Where you going to walk away to, Ariva? Where you going to walk away to? You going to walk away? You ain't going to walk away to Trump?
No, this party should not in any way do anything to work around Ms. Harris. We should do everything we can to bolster her, whether it's in second place or at the top of the ticket.
Well, they may have a point. New CNN polling is giving Kamala a lifeline. She's the only candidate who comes within striking distance of Trump. 2 points.
Let's have just a moment of light relief, courtesy of one of the most powerful women in the world whose oratory skills are second to none. Take it away, Kamala Harris.
Over these last 18 months, Democrats have delivered. Let me rephrase that. Over these last 18 months, Democrats have delivered big time.
Don't laugh. That was the highlight. That was the high point of the speech. And boy, haven't the Democrats delivered big time. Biggest gas prices, big inflation, more than 2 million illegal immigrants crossing the southern border. That's big. And don't forget the dramatic increase in violent crime in Democrat-run cities. No wonder Kamala is proud.
I actually broke John Adams' record of casting the most tie-breaking votes in a single term. How about that? How about that?
How about that? Yes. When she's not laughing weirdly, Kamala is delivering speeches that sound a lot like a child doing a school presentation on an assignment where they've clearly done zero work.
Today, the business of our work is for the Council to report on the work that has occurred since our last meeting across these areas. We will today also discuss the work yet ahead, the work we must still do to continue to move forward.
What? Don't forget, she's got a large media team, including professional speechwriters.
She's not doing.
And I think those speechwriters must clearly hate her.
Now, unfortunately, tonight, Biden and Harris continue to embarrass the whole country on the world stage, projecting weakness, doubling down on their failed far-left policies, and, as usual, a never-ending stream of bizarre blunders by both of them. Now, here's the vice president yesterday with the president of Poland. Watch this embarrassment.
Is the United States willing to make a specific allocation for Ukrainian refugees? And for President Duda, I wanted to know if you think, and if you asked the United States to specifically accept more refugees.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Okay, I can first. Okay, so this time.
Giggling is the perfect way to answer a serious question about refugees. That moment was so bad that even the Ukrainian President Zelensky's former press secretary tweeted, "It would be a tragedy if Harris ever became president." That's probably an understatement. Now, of course, creepy, bizarre giggling is nothing new for the vice president. Let's take you down a short trip of memory lane here. You might recall some of this.
Do you have plans to visit the border?
Not today. More parents are seeing the value of educators when they had to bring their kids and said, we're not paying them nearly enough. Hold on. Slow down, everybody. Because there's an interesting fact, in case you didn't know. Hard hats are actually unisex. Everybody's laughing.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage. But
Yeah.
Lots of giggles. Anyway, according to the media mob and the co-hosts of that hard-hitting news show, The View on ABC, if you think laughing off questions about really serious issues is unprofessional, that means you are racist and you are a sexist. Take a look.
Did you have a problem with any of the way she handled this, ladies? People are talking about it. I personally think if she was a guy, they would never say it because they also made fun of Hillary's laugh.
What it is that they constantly question the qualifications of black women, and that's why people are saying that she's unprepared. And
I disagree. I think she's
you can disagree, but that's the truth of it. And so this is based in racism. This is based in misogyny.
Absolutely, there's a racial aspect to it.
All right.
Here with reaction, co-host of The Five, Judge Jeanine Pirro is with us, along with Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Judge, I don't know. I say about the president that he's weak and frail, and he's obviously a cognitive mess. And then we got a vice president that gets serious questions and giggles. I don't know what's worse. You decide.
Well, I got to tell you, if anything, the one purpose she serves is as an insurance policy to make sure that Joe Biden stays there. The idea that a woman, the highest ranking woman in the United States, goes to Poland to stand with the president of Poland, is not prepared for a question as to whether or not the United States is willing to help refugees, that she looks to the president of another country that she's there to reassure, and then starts giggling like a fool, is an absolute embarrassment. And I am sick and tired of people saying it's about color. Let me tell you something. When it came to Condi Rice, nobody questioned her competence. When it comes to the woman right now, the candidate or the nominee for Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson, there is no one questioning her qualifications. This woman should be questioned. She makes an embarrassment of herself whenever she gets on the world stage. And by the way, doesn't she know about refugees? I mean, isn't she the border czar? And this is a continuing image that we see of her. And she should not be allowed out of the United States if she's going to be an embarrassment to this country.
Joe Concha, we have images now of a mass grave. We have images of a maternity hospital that was attacked. Dozens of schools have been hit. Entire neighborhoods have been blown up. We've got a refugee crisis, 2.5 million people. That's what she was asked. How do you explain that response of hers? I don't get it.
This is not a serious person in a very serious time, Sean. And as far as blaming racism, I go back to an interview Kamala Harris did after she dropped out of the Democratic primaries before one vote was cast, right? And she blamed sexism and racism for her support being so low, which is a very odd way to talk about Democratic voters. So this is the playbook here by the candidate and by the vice president and by her super PAC that is The View. Play the gender and the race card from the bottom of the deck. But the Veep's problems come down to very basic things. Voters see her as ill-equipped for the job. That's based on odd statements like, it's time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. I literally have that quote hanging here in my home studio. It's right next to Reagan's Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, and this one, pain heals, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever. That one's from Keanu Reeves, and we could talk about that another time. But in the end, Ms. Harris has a communication problem. She has an authenticity problem. She has a likability problem. And more importantly, she is failing on performance. This critique has, to the judge's point, has nothing to do with race or gender, because I would say the same thing about the old white guy that happens to be her boss on the same issue. More than 2 million people have crossed into this country over the U.S. southern border in the last year alone. That's triple the size of the total population of Boston. And despite comparing ICE to the KKK, she was put in charge of fixing it. And it's only getting worse as she plays the role of absentee landlord. And now we see her cackling again, to your point, when asked a basic question in Poland yesterday with the world watching. In the end, she was supposed to be Plan B to Biden. Now she's Plan Z, even among many Democrats, Sean.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Joe Concha.
Judge, so basically what they're saying...
me first?
You know, because I just love to go to you first. I really do.
Okay.
Basically what they're saying is the only reason Kamala isn't getting brought up is because of her race or gender.
Yeah.
Are there other reasons maybe that people aren't leaning to her to be the savior?
Look, this is classic DEI culture. Do you not understand why she was chosen in the first place? She has proven to America why DEI doesn't work. The woman has had, and I remember reading this, 28 people leave her office because she's intolerable. It's a toxic workspace. She mumbles and jumbles almost as much as Joe in her word salads. She's always laughing. You wonder why she's laughing. I won't even go there. But, you know, she was in charge of the border. She was in charge of several other things. I don't know what she does all day. She has a lid on her days. This woman does not deserve to be president, but I'll tell you what, or VP, which is what we heard. But here's the thing. The Biden-Harris money belongs to Kamala Harris. That money cannot be transferred. And we're talking about a lot of money. So the Democrats have to recognize that, you know, if they want to jump over Kamala, you made the rules, you live by them. You've got to go with Kamala and I don't know where they're going to go if the black women don't support a white candidate for president. Or the question is simply, you know, will they say, well, Gavin, you can run and Kamala, you could be vice president. Or Kamala will put you on the Supreme Court. But here's the thing. I think the money decides all of it. You know, maybe call their bluff. See what happens.
Richard? She is polling better than Biden against Trump in a CNN poll. Are Democrats just racist, or are they misogynist, or are they what are they? I'm just curious.
Hold on a second. Now, Judge, I do like you a lot, but I have to disagree with you. I think after that debate we saw on Thursday, Kamala Harris did ABC, NBC, CBS,
PCP.
Hold on, let's not be rude. But what we saw was she didn't jumble her words at all. She was actually very artful in her defense of the defense of the president.
Okay. Quite the bar.
And I think she was so artful that when CNN just did the poll that Joey talked about, she is not only within striking distance, she's in a statistical tie with former President Trump. And listen, I do think that the media gives her a rough deal. I don't know why that is, but let's talk about what she has done since she's been the vice president, because the media doesn't talk about it enough. When she became the vice president, there's only three states in the United States that extended postpartum Medicaid coverage past 12 months to women. Because of Kamala's work, now 46 states extend postpartum coverage.
How come I'm not hearing that from her?
Because the media is not reporting it. And she said it a number of times. She said it when she sat down with Sherry Shepard. She said it when she sat down with Mav Carter. She said it and she says it in all of her interviews. The media is not covering that. Beyond that, she's been one of the leading voices and leading the effort to counterbalance China in how they're influencing the developing world. China has spent millions of dollars in the continent of Africa. Kamala Harris has been the sharp edge in America's foreign policy in countering that. She's invested.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious. I could tell you about her record directly. She's delivered over $100 million in aid to Africa. She's been on a trip.
What about America?
Yeah.
But that's part, if we're going to counterbalance China.
The border?
If we're going to counterbalance China, we do that by how we do our foreign and how we do our foreign policy. And she's been the leading edge. She's been leading.
Well, Greg, if Richard's right, obviously
right.
Kamala is not the shadow president. Somebody else is. Is this a DEI going awry? I mean, why is she in the position she's in, and why is she being overlooked?
She's being overlooked because she didn't earn it. She was the least popular candidate in the primaries of 2020, and there were a lot of people involved. So there's a sense that, as what happens with DEI, unfortunately, even if you are qualified, people are skeptical how you got there. For bureaucrats, it's really easy to hire for diversity and equity. All you got to do is look at them, hire them, you get promoted. But it's hard and almost impossible to fire that hire if they're a disaster, because then lawyers get involved and they call you racist. And when you've established no expectation for competence, and all it is race and gender, you don't really push that person to do well. She didn't have to really do anything but show up and smile, and that's the problem. So what do you replace her with? It's got to be like a one-to-one move. You can't do a straight white male. In identity poker, that's like trying to beat a royal flush with a 2 and a 3. So if you can't find a Kamala replacement, you're screwed. And with DEI hiring, in which demand exceeds supply, Always. That's just the way it is. You're not going to find another Kamala. Now, somebody suggested Gretchen Whitmer. Maybe she could show up at the August convention. But I think she has a kidnapping scheduled for that week.
Dana, all the other names are executives. They're governors of states. I think there's some relevance there, right?
I think governors make great presidents or good executives because they've had to do the job. Here's the thing. If Kamala Harris was really terrific at her job and she had the full weight of the Democrats behind her, Joe Biden would not be running for re-election right now. He said he was going to be a transitional president, and then he made the determination that she's worse than me. So I guess I'm going to have to run again, and he didn't want to give up the power. Nikki Haley, as I recall, was at least the first on the campaign trail to say, this campaign is not against Joe Biden. It's against Kamala Harris, and that was a differentiating thing for her. One of the reasons Kamala Harris is polling better is because her name ID is high. So not as many people might have heard about someone else. If the Democrats go forward and have a nominating convention where they can't try to replace Joe Biden, whoever that is will have 100% name ID by Labor Day. But what Jim Clyburn did today is he showed he is much more interested in the preservation of the political career of Kamala Harris than he is about saving the political career of Joe Biden. So watch that.
Bolster. Bolster. Oratory. Oratory. Second to none. Second to none. Bizarre. Bizarre. Frail. Frail. Critique. Critique. Quite the bar. Quite the bar. In a statistical tie. In a statistical tie. Within striking distance. Within striking distance. Skeptical. Skeptical.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
Okay. Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Space is exciting. It spurs our imaginations, and it forces us to ask big questions. Space, it affects us all, and it connects us all.
One of the things I'm most excited about. But the other, you guys are going to see. You're going to literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes. Oh my goodness. With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is going to be unbelievable. So that's one of the things we can do here too.
Did Democrats fail, past Democratic presidents, congressional leaders, to not codify Roe v. Wade over the past 5 decades?
I think that, to be very honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
Which is why we will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work together on. And I know we will work on this together. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to
to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
You know, when we talk about our children, I know for this group, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
We campaign with the plan. Uppercase T, uppercase P, the plan. And then the environment is such that we're expected to defend the plan.
Please don't do that.
Hilarious.
I see that over the summer, there have been like protests and demonstrations in astronomical numbers then with Palestine. But then just a few days ago, there were funds allocated to continue backing Israel, which hurts my heart because it's an ethnic genocide and the displacement of people, the same that happened in America. And I'm sure you're aware of this. And I bring this up also because of the issue of how Americans are struggling because of lack of health care, public health care, lack of affordable housing, and all this money ends up going to in funding Israel and backing Saudi Arabia and whatnot. And I think that the people have spoken very often in what they do need, and I feel like there's a lack of listening, and I just feel like I need to bring this up because it affects my life and people I really care about's lives, and this is just something I have to bring up.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. And again, this is about the fact that your voice, your perspective, your experience, your truth should not be suppressed.
Because I represent the whole of the United States of America.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.